everyone, it's B007 back for another 10-minute movie review, and today I am so excited to talk to you about The Apprentice, a new film by Ali Abassi featuring the relationship between the real-life corrupt lawyer Roy Cohn and a young Donald J. Trump. The movie stars Succession's Jeremy Strong as Cohn, the first time we're seeing Roy Cohn depicted on screen since an iconic performance by Al Pacino in HBO's Angels in America. And it also features Sebastian Stan as Donald J. Trump. Now, Roy Cohn has long been a notorious and iconic feature of any analysis of post-war American politics. He was one of its most toxic and pervasive influences. And I guess there's a dramatic irony in the fact that this morally corrupt lawyer who idolized the right, thought of himself as a patriot, was a big supporter of Nixon and then of Reagan, at a time when the Reagan administration was doing its utmost not to support people dying of AIDS, was himself a gay man dying of AIDS. In Jeremy Strong's depiction of Roy Cohn, he is still a racist, homophobic, and capitalist man, red in tooth and claw. His patriotism lies in a sort of by any means necessary preservation of the right wing's hold on power. And as we see, his legal practices rely on blackmail and intimidation. Strong plays him as a wiry, deeply tanned man of unflinching self-confidence. He's not attractive, but he is charismatic. Strong's Roy Cohn is also a man who loves and is loyal, and who throws all of that love and all of his protection on the awkward, starstruck, suburban hick that is Donald J. Trump at the turn of the 80s. So as the movie opens, we see Roy take Trump under his wing. He blackmails away a federal lawsuit against the Trump Corporation, accusing them, quite rightly actually, of racially discriminating against their tenants. Roy then achieves a massive New York City tax abatement for Trump's first large Manhattan development deal, the deal that took him and the corporation from being residential landlords in Coney Island to owning large swathes of sort of luxury real estate on Manhattan. Roy passes on 3 rules. Number 1, always attack. Number 2, create your own truth. And number 3, to never ever concede defeat, which you can read very clearly and map very clearly onto Trump's subsequent political career. But he also teaches Trump to dress expensively in those awful, boxy, dark navy Brioni suits we've come to know him for, in order to sort of wash away the suburban cheapness. I guess one of the mysteries of the film is, why does Roy choose to do this? Why Trump of all people? And I think early on in the film it implies that maybe there was some kind of sexual attraction. I mean, it's hard to imagine the obese tangerine hairball today as attractive, but he was young once. But very soon the relationship morphs into something far more paternal. And I think Cohn recognizes that Trump's father, Fred Trump, is a really toxic bully who has already driven one son to alcoholism and the other to a kind of macho posturing as self-protection. I think what Fred Trump teaches his sons is that there are winners and losers, and you better be a winner. And to be a winner, you have to be a killer. The relationship is so convincing in this film that it makes it all the more heartbreaking when a now very superficially successful Donald Trump, at the height of his 80s pomp, turns his back on Roy Cohn, who is now very sick with AIDS. And it's testament to Jeremy Strong's performance that, despite the fact that I despise the real-life Roy Cohn, I felt desperately sorry for him in these final scenes. He is a strange mix of being both proud of the monster that he has created, but also heartbroken that he's been disavowed. And what of Sebastian Stan's young Trump? I think this is an equally masterful performance, actually. And I know that Jeremy Strong is getting all the awards chatter, but I think Sebastian Stan is doing something really good too. When we first meet his Trump, he's gauche and uncertain and obsequious. But by the end of the film, he is inflated in ego and stomach alike, impotent thanks to the fact that he's popping amphetamines, balding, and very intimidated by his wife. He has also completely absorbed Cohn's lessons and kind of become, quite literally at the end, the author of his own mythos. And even physically, by the end of this film, Sebastian Stan's Trump has become recognizable as the Trump we know now. So he's got those pursed teeth. He's got those kind of contemptuous looking eyes. He's got some of the hand gestures. But crucially, it never tips over into caricature. It remains a proper acting performance, not some kind of comedy skit. By the end of the film, the relationship between Cohn and Trump is over because Cohn's died. And the one way, the monodirectional love story of Roy for Donald is over. But the one way love story of Trump for Trump has become. And I think it's really fascinating that we intercut between Roy Cohn's funeral and Trump lying on the operating table having liposuction. The fat being sucked out of his body, a symbol, if ever there was one, of excessive bile and obscene gorging on the carcass of America having to be drained off. I mean, I think real kudos to director Ali Abassi, whose previous films include things like Holy Spider and Border, and to writer Gabriel Sherman, who apparently wrote Independence Day Resurgence, for just having the guts to tackle this project, even at the risk of making Trump seem sympathetic at the start and Cohn seem sympathetic at the end. I mean, this is a nuanced script. It's not just pantomime villains from start to finish. I'm particularly impressed that they had the guts to include a scene where Trump, his ego insulted, rapes Ivana. This is something she alleged in her divorce proceedings, and Trump always said she was just cooking this up for the divorce. She later, I think, did retract it, but I'm not sure if that's because she had an NDA and she'd got a payout. But I think it's brave to put it in, because it shows, in a sense, the monstrosity of the ego and the fact that he cannot stand to be critiqued at all, which I think just rings very true. But the scene also made me really consider the role of the actress Maria Bakalova, who plays Ivana Trump in this film, and just the role that she personally has had in the fever dream that has been MAGA America. So in this film, she's acting the part of a rape victim in a fictionalized account of Trump's life. But then, for most of us, the last movie we will have seen her in is Borat's subsequent movie film, where the real life Trump lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, thinks that he's going to go lie down in a hotel room and start unzipping his pants because she's going to service him. So this poor actress, I feel, has become sort of totemic of the moral corruption of the past couple of years. But, if the courage of all involved in this film is to be praised, and I think we have to close out this podcast episode by also and equally condemning the gutless moral midgetry of every self-avowed liberal Hollywood distributor and streaming service that did not have the balls to take this movie on and put it on in cinemas in the face of Trump's legal threats. I think it says a lot about where the courage truly lies or doesn't lie in Hollywood. Anyways, I want to say that this is a genuinely engrossing, amazing film. The 2 hours just fly by. The performances are incredibly strong. There are moments that are so funny. I think it does give you insight into what made Trump what he is today. And I think it's really compulsive viewing. I hope it wins lots of awards. The Apprentice has a running time of 120 minutes. It played Cannes, Telluride, and London 2024. It opened in the USA last week on October 11th and opens in the UK tomorrow on October the 18th. Thank you for listening.